Cynthia, unmute yourself. Jesus, this one. Once the baby of the group, always the baby.
Oh, what's up, motherfucker?
Hey, a couple months ago I was sent an indie movie to review, something I am happy to make time for because I just love indie filmmakers. So if you're a filmmaker and you want to if you want me to review a movie of yours, go ahead and send me a DM on Twitter, or you can email me or whatever. Send a fucking carrier pigeon with a DVD. Whatever. I'm happy to take a gander, but be warned, I am not one to let up on my criticisms simply because I've been given something for freebies, unless it's money. I'll take a bribe like nobody's business. Anyway, luckily that wasn't necessary on this one. Fresh Hell is a fresh film. Why did I write that? In that it came out this year and deals with topics that are extremely prescient. We start with the usual Zoom call movie intro to a whole host of somewhat stereotypical characters, including the sexually open, fun one, Cynthia, the super callous podcaster and right-wing conspiracy theorist Scott, the sad and lonely 30-something gay dude Brian, the I donated to BLM liberal Kara, it's my favorite, the pretty level-headed and likable Grace, and James, the actor who became an essential worker during the pandemic, I guess. There's also Todd, our quintessential white dad. None of these characters would make much sense together without the context that they all went to college together, but that's a nice setup because it means a lot of different and often conflicting character types right from the word go. Soon after, the film attempts a montage of people talking on Zoom, which is not poorly done, but given some livelier music and editing, I think could be legitimately good. That said, what an uphill battle that idea is. I mean, it's a montage of people on Zoom. Kudos on the attempt, definitely. Then Laura shows up, but it's not their friend Laura who they are waiting for. It's some guy going by the name The Stranger. And suddenly, about 20 minutes into the 75-minute movie, great runtime by the way, things start to go a little, well, strange. It becomes very obvious that things are not what they seem, and that goes for both the plot and the approach of the film's primary storytelling device. See, Fresh Hell is divided into multiple segments, and while we start in your typical Zoom call, we don't stay there. That's all I'll really say about that. I don't want to spoil anything terribly important. While horror is certainly on Fresh Hell's mind, it seems as if the filmmakers would rather be railing against 2020 society and culture, and I gotta say, that's pretty up my alley as someone who loves the far more accomplished and coherent Scary of 61st, a film that is far less subtle. Sometimes the social commentary here is funny. I love the line, "This is worse than the Jar Squatter." I remember that. While other times things are cringy, like shortly after that line when Kara says, "No, don't call the police, we have to defund the police." It's a bit of a mixed bag on the dialogue front, but honestly, most of it's just fine, and we dig into more of the internalized rage toward the world around us. Everything tends to even out. My only real qualm, all said and done, is rooted in some of the aforementioned dialogue. I don't mind stereotypes, they're very useful actually, but in some cases it just gets overbearing.
I donated to BLM.
Thank you, Kara.
The same goes for a supporting character who shows up a little later, who's just too much of a stereotype, and doesn't seem like someone who would be using Zoom in this particular moment, and took me out of the movie. I think all of this amounts to a common flaw in super low to no budget indie filmmaking, which is tone. In a comedy, or a more, let's say, zany film, these issues might not even be flaws, but quirks, and a film that obviously is setting up to scare while imparting a social message, it's a little wonky, and while I like that aforementioned rage against the machine, it's not quite strong enough to make up for some pretty lame scares. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of the dog masks, they're kind of lame. And a protracted third act speech that doesn't wind up gelling quite enough. The imagery, when it works, is pretty stellar. I can't really say how original any of it is in the subgenre, since I've really only seen like 2 other screen share horror flicks, Unfriended and Host, and there's a shocking number of them out there, but then, having said that, since only about a third is really a screen share movie, that comparison is kinda rendered moot. Instead of sticking with formula, we have a filmmaker stacking techniques with little interest and consistency, and there is something fresh and, not necessarily innovative, but at least forward-thinking about that. Fresh Hell is pretty good. I would not say it's a great film, but I think that as an attempt at kind of switching things up within this subgenre and just being kind of an enjoyable, very fast horror film, you know, you could do much worse. Either which way, I hope you enjoy it when you do get to see it, and hey, go watch a movie.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.